Hey, I want to make a video about sexuality and how that's developed through my transition. So I guess to begin, I'll fill you guys in on that. I was always interested in girls. Um, I think a lot of people can tell what their sexuality is when they're younger, even before they know what sexuality is. Um, so I was one of those people who, once I realized that I liked girls when I was a teenager, looking back, it was really obvious. It just was something that, I didn't really analyze too much until it became an actual big thing as a teenager, and there was never any confusion about whether I liked guys or not. I just didn't. I had even tried to like guys when I was younger, before I was comfortable with what my sexuality was, and it just didn't do anything for me. I liked them as friends, and I could recognize when guys were good looking, but there just wasn't any kind of attraction there for me. That being said, that is now not the case. Currently, around 2 years on T, I can say that I have experienced a shift, or rather opening up of my sexuality, and now that I feel that I can like people of either gender, or regardless of their gender, however you would like to phrase it. This is something that I do not believe would have happened without transition. If I was still not on hormones, and I think even if I was living socially as male, that I wouldn't be experiencing the attraction to men. And I'll try to explain why and how I think that transitioning can lead to this change in people's sexualities, because this does happen to a lot of trans guys as well. Although it doesn't happen to all trans guys, obviously. Testosterone does not magically make you attracted to men, not at all, but there is a definite effect that brings out that attraction in a lot of people who already had the potential there. I think there are multiple aspects to it. There's the more basic aspect of T increasing your libido and sex drive, and what I found, at least, and what some others have shared with me, is that being on testosterone, it really, in increasing your sex drive, it kind of gradually leads you to seek kind of sexual experiences that you wouldn't have previously been comfortable with, or maybe even thought about at all. Because for me, at least, I barely had a libido at all pre-T, and if I was ever doing anything sexual, it was with somebody who I was involved with, or dating, or whatever. It was because I liked them and I wanted to share that with them, or be intimate with them, or whatever, however you'd like to look at it. And it's not that I couldn't enjoy sex pre-T, but it definitely was not something that was very important to me, and I wouldn't exactly say that it's become more important to me per se, but it's definitely become something that I enjoy more. You going on testosterone and transitioning as a trans guy, you have changes physically, and that kind of helps you to associate with your body a little bit more, and not to mention that physically things tend to feel different, so you tend to be more interested and more open to sexual experiences. For me, I didn't really get much purely physical pleasure out of it beforehand, but afterwards, I started to think about it and experience it in a different way, in a way that it was actually physically satisfying to me, rather than just for the sake of my appreciation for another person, if that makes sense. So the increase in libido, the ability to be able to associate more with certain parts of your body from changes of testosterone, I think that contributes to exploring your sexuality more. And not necessarily a change in sexual orientation, but, just being less restricted and being less cut off from it completely. As well as that, I think that there is a definite social aspect. The way that you're seen in the world and by other people who you meet, being seen as male, your accurate identity is something that plays a big role in sexuality and interactions of those nature with people, because going about the world where people perceive you as female is different than going about the world where people see you as male. And that's probably pretty obvious, but it also completely, it swaps around the interactions that you get in terms of people's sexual orientation. For example, if you were to get involved with a girl pre-T, it would be a lesbian relationship by technicality. It probably is different if you were socially identifying as male, but pre-T for me, I wasn't. So, and then obviously if you were with a guy, or if I would have been with a guy pre-T, it would have been a heterosexual relationship. So I don't think I would be able to be in a relationship with a guy as a girl. Well, first of all, because I'm not a girl, but second of all, it's just a different social experience. And being perceived as male and being perceived accurately is something that makes a huge difference in relationships, I feel. So now I was able to welcome that attraction while feeling like my actual self. And the obvious thing here is now, if I'd be with guys, it would be with gay or bisexual guys, and rather than straight or, I guess bisexual guys pre-T. So that's also a difference that transition makes. But I feel like the most important change of transition in regards to how it affects your sexuality is really just how comfortable you feel about yourself and your identity and others relating to you and interacting with you while perceiving you in a correct and accurate way. Because I don't know, I think that even if, for example, I were to meet a guy pre-T and I was identifying as male and he was completely accepting and understanding and treated me as male, etc., etc., I still feel like that would be different than if it happened now, because as well as how other people perceive you, there's just how comfortable you feel yourself. You're not in this internal conflict trying to reach transition, trying to become more authentic in yourself, because you're already doing that. And that's not to say that now I feel like 100% comfortable with myself and all my dysphoria is gone or anything like that, but I mean, it makes a huge difference. Being able to be confident and being able to know that you're attractive as male makes a big difference. And being taken seriously as male and just going about your everyday life that way, and then it just makes a big difference to how comfortable and confident you feel. And I don't know, I'm making it sound like if you feel confident then you'll be attracted to men, but no, that's not how it works. There's just so many different things that come together, and it just brought out that potential that was there and I just didn't know about it. It's just weird because I never saw myself heading towards that inclination, but it happened. And I mean, now for me it started sexually. Like, I could see myself being with a guy physically, and then it kind of evolved into, well, I could actually be with a guy in a romantic way. I mean, I think it always just takes meeting the right person, of course. I couldn't be with any guy on the street, the same way I couldn't be with any girl on the street. What I also found very interesting is the way that my transition has reflected on other people's sexualities, because this is something I think about a lot, and I think it kind of shows that a lot of people aren't as concrete in who they're attracted to as they think. Some people, don't get me wrong here, some people, their sexualities are very defined. Some people know that they're only attracted to women and only attracted to men, and that's the line. But I thought I was that way too. And so there have been some people who I've been with who identify as only attracted to women or gay, and yet they have recognized that they have had an attraction to me, or at least I would have to assume from our interactions. But the interesting thing is they do acknowledge that I'm not a girl and that it's different for them, but I find that kind of exciting how something like me going through transition can open up somebody's experiences like that. And I found the same way. I think that was one of the key elements for me realizing my attraction to men as well, is if there was, for example, somebody who was female and they transition and I thought they were attractive. So I think that kind of transition does play this interesting role of allowing this blurred line between what your specific attraction to a certain gender is, and just for a lot of people making them realize that there isn't actually a line there and they can be attracted to different genders of people. Anyways, like I said, testosterone doesn't make you attracted to men automatically, but I really do think it opens up your sexuality in a really interesting way, in an exciting way as well. So I think I should wrap up the video now, but I appreciate anybody watching this. Hope it will be interesting for you. Alright, goodbye.